Picture this. You are standing in the dark. No walls, no city lights, no phone in your pocket. Just frozen ground beneath your feet and the sound of wolves somewhere beyond the fire. You are slow. You are small. You cannot see in the dark. You cannot smell danger before it reaches you. By almost every measure, you should not be at the top of this food chain. And yet, 10,000 years later, that wolf is asleep on your couch waiting for you to scratch its ears. How does that happen?
To understand what dogs actually are, you need to forget everything you know about them. No leashes, no dog parks, no tiny raincoats. Go back roughly 30,000 years. Ice Age Earth. Humans live in roaming bands, maybe 20, maybe 50 people, constantly moving across vast, brutal landscapes in search of food. Most hunts fail. Winter kills people who make small mistakes. A broken bone is practically a death sentence. And wolves? Wolves are everywhere. They hunt in coordinated packs. They can run for hours without stopping. Their jaws can crush bone. Their noses can detect a single animal from miles away. Their eyes cut through darkness like yours never could. These two species, humans and wolves, should be nothing but enemies. But something strange was already beginning at the edges of those ancient campsites.
Here is something most people don't realize about hunter-gatherers. They were messy. Even in times of scarcity, human camps left behind bones, scraps, half-eaten kills. To a wolf, a human campsite wasn't a threat. It was a buffet, a moving, reliable source of free calories. So some wolves started following human groups. But not all wolves. The ones that crept too close got speared. The ones that stayed too far back got nothing. The ones that thrived were somewhere in the middle, curious enough to approach, calm enough not to attack. Here's where it gets fascinating. Those calmer wolves didn't just survive, they reproduced, and their calmer offspring reproduced. And slowly, across hundreds of generations, the wolf population around human camps was being quietly filtered, not by human choice, but by the laws of survival itself. Friendlier wolves got more food. Calmer wolves lived longer. The most aggressive wolves were eliminated, not by hunters, but by their own behavior. This is what scientists call self-domestication, and we know it's real because we've actually watched it happen in a laboratory. A Soviet geneticist named Dmitry Belyaev began one of the most remarkable experiments in the history of biology. He took wild silver foxes in Siberia and began breeding them, but with one simple rule. Every generation, he only selected the least aggressive individuals to reproduce. No training, no rewards, just selective breeding based on temperament alone. Within a few decades, something extraordinary happened. The foxes started behaving like dogs. They wagged their tails, they whined when humans left, they sought out eye contact and physical affection. But then, and this is the part that genuinely surprised scientists, their bodies started changing too. Floppy ears appeared, snouts shortened, fur developed patches and spots, tails began to curl. Nobody bred them for those features. Nobody wanted spotted foxes. It just happened automatically as a byproduct of selecting for calmness. Scientists now believe this happens because aggression and physical development share some of the same biological pathways. Reduce one and the other changes too. Which means the very first proto-dogs, those calmer wolves hanging around ancient camps, may have started looking softer, less threatening, almost puppy-like, long before any human ever thought to intentionally breed them. At some point, humans noticed something. The wolves near camp reacted to sounds before humans could hear them. They caught scents of approaching predators long before any human lookout. They tracked prey with a precision no human hunter could match alone. A calm wolf hanging around your camp wasn't just harmless, it was useful. It was an alarm system, a tracking tool, and a hunting partner, all in one. And once both species started benefiting from the arrangement, the relationship accelerated rapidly. This is why dogs hold a unique title in history, the first animal ever domesticated by humans. Before sheep, before goats, before cattle, before the invention of farming itself. When agriculture eventually did arrive, dogs adapted again, evolving the ability to digest starch far more efficiently than wolves, essentially rewiring their gut biology to match human diets. And the changes went deeper than the physical. Research shows that when a human and a dog make eye contact, both experience a surge of oxytocin, the same neurochemical released between a parent and a newborn child. Wolves do not do this with humans. Dogs do. Evolution specifically shaped that response into them over thousands of years of living alongside us. Even those famous puppy dog eyes, that irresistible, slightly sad upward gaze, appear to have evolved because dogs that could produce that expression were more likely to be cared for by humans, and therefore more likely to survive.
In Germany, archaeologists uncovered a grave dating back roughly 14,000 years. Inside, a man, a woman, and a dog buried deliberately, carefully, side by side. Dog's bones showed evidence of a severe illness suffered during puppyhood, and yet the animal had survived, weeks, possibly months, past the point where the illness would have been fatal without care. Someone fed that dog, someone protected it, someone spent precious food and energy, resources that could have meant the difference between their own survival and death, keeping a sick animal alive. That is not strategy. That is love. For tens of thousands of years, across frozen tundras and scorching deserts and every kind of landscape in between, humans and dogs crossed the world together. They guarded each other through the night. They hunted side by side. They crossed oceans and mountains and entirely new continents. No deal was made. It started with scraps beside a fire, a few wolves slightly less afraid than the rest, creeping carefully toward the light. And somewhere in that quiet, cautious approach, evolution quietly built one of the most remarkable relationships in the entire history of life on this planet. Tonight, your dog will probably fall asleep near you. And now you know. That moment is 30,000 years in the making.
If this made you see your dog or any animal a little differently, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want to understand more about the hidden forces that shape human behavior, animal psychology, and the science behind why we are the way we are, subscribe to Cortex Sketch. New video coming soon.